Hello, everyone. For those who will be seeing this is a project that I am doing that I got finished today, later on today, for a kid's birthday. This is actually done on wood. Actually, it's pretty cool. I'm wondering why I never did this before. This medium before wood. It's actually pretty cool. But this is actually my first time, my very first time painting on wood. My very first time. So this is a new experience, and I gotta say, I like it. Cause I like the way the paint is absorbed into the wood. I like how the paint is absorbed into the wood and how it goes along the grain of the wood smoothly. Right. I'm drawing kind of not drawn, but I drew and I'm painting in a kind of I don't want to say nautical scene, but it's kind of a traveler type of scene. And you can see as it goes along, it's getting darker and darker. And for those who paint, they know the most tedious part is actually the drawing part. Because for this one, I had to draw it on paper just so I can I actually can see the idea. Excuse me. Then I had to draw it again on the wood to make sure make sure the placement was all together and things were as they should be. CHA. Okay. Make sure all the lettering was correct and the right proportions and all that. There's a lot that goes into painting that I don't know many people don't really understand when it comes to painting how much, for lack of a better term, science and math goes into it. There's a lot of science and a lot of math that goes into a painting, more than people will actually realize or recognize. I mean, the regular person probably wouldn't understand it, maybe, but those who are in the know, those who are who study art or who are painters themselves, because not all those who study art are painters or artists, and not all painters study art. Believe it or not. I know it sounds crazy, but that's true. Not all painters study art, and not all well, what I say? What is it? Not all painters study art. That's true. You know they should, and not all people who study art are painters. Some people study art but aren't painters, or don't they don't draw or anything. But they won't get on track. There's a lot that goes into this process. Excuse me. My allergies. Pardon my allergies. And I mean, like I said, I go from I start with the background first. That's why you see me doing these kind of clouds and skies. I do the background first. That way, as I go along, I can see the form and shapes and certain lines come together, which makes it easier for me to know what my next step is. I mean, I could do it the other way, but it's much more efficient for me to work that way. What I do for the background for, and most artists that I've seen do that also. Most artists use that method because I just find it's just much more efficient. And plus, if you go from the background to the foreground, you can paint over what's in the background and not have to worry about messing anything up because that's basically what you want to do. Because that's how it works in nature, where the foreground is always in front of the background. Hence the term foreground, background, FORE, for meaning front as like the forefront or before all that. And as I go more and more, you can see. See, I go over that with the white, so I can kind of deal with that bleeding. I can go over with the white. I didn't want it to happen, but you know. Hello. Some people came in. As you see, to go from light to dark. That's actually what I want to do. And of course, I get to the other side, the darker is going to get. And I want to like kind of like to blend into the other, one going to the other. So I take the paintbrush and I pull. Hello. I want to put music on right now, but I can't. 'Cause when I upload this, they're gonna get me for the copyright. So I can't. I can't jam like I really wanna. I just can't do it. So right now, you just have to deal with the sweet sounds of my voice. Oh yeah. I'm stupid. I'm stupid. Stupid. Excuse me. I thought about tracing over this in black, like tracing over the lines, but I was like, nah. I want to challenge myself. That was usually what I would do. I would trace over it with black, just so I can give myself kind of like a border. But uh, I changed my mind as I was sketching. Wait till this dries. Then I could start with the next phase. The next phase until I'm done. I say probably like maybe 3 or 4 phases of this. Of course, the background. You know, all the flat colors, the flats as we call them, the flats. The flats simply mean you put the colors down that you're going to use, and that'll be it for that particular part. There will be no highlights, no shadows. That comes after. But all the flats simply means where you're going to place the colors, like where you want things to go. As that's simply basically what that means. Where do you want your colors to be? Like the placement, pretty much. And once you have the flats, then the next stage could be, you know, the details. Any particular small items you want to put in there. Um, any little small, subtle nuances that probably you and the customer would know if you're being paid for it, or just some small things that only you would know or other artists would know, or all that stuff. Then once you get past that, then you have the details, the highlights, the shadows. That's where you really start buttoning up things. That's where you start, finishing up things, is the details. Where the highlights go, the shadows. When you pretty much know where you want those things to go in advance. Like, you know where you want them to go as soon as you do the sketch. The very first stage is the sketch of the composition. What exactly are you going to be painting or drawing or whatever it is you're going to do? The sketch is step number one above all. That's if you, because not all paintings come from a sketch. Not all paintings come from a sketch. But for the most part, a good kind of rule of thumb for painting is a sketch first, because unless you just go on freestyle off the top of your head, which happens, it happens. I do it all the time. But unless you're doing it that way, you generally want to do a sketch in your sketchbook or wherever you want to do it, so you can see how your idea will look outside of your brain. Because every drawing, every painting is first an idea in your head, and you want to see if what's in your mind can be accurately depicted on paper or canvas or whatever you're using, whatever medium you're using. So what you generally want to do is do a sketch on paper, just so you can see where everything is going to be. If what you had in your mind is what's coming out on the paper. And that's where the paper is where you can make your mistakes. Because what you do not want to do is do a sketch on the canvas before you really have the idea flushed out. And then you start painting and then you realize, oh crap, there's some stuff I wanted to put in here, and maybe I wanted to edit some things out. It's kind of like editing. The sketching process is where you do your editing of your idea. That's where you do the editing of your idea, is in the sketching process. You want to know, okay, how does this look? Does this work with this? Does that look good? Should I take this out of the drawing? Should I add this to the drawing? It's like editing. You're pretty much editing your brain. Whatever was in your brain, you go over it over and over again to see if it really looks good as you have it in your brain, so forth and so on. Will it look good if you add this or take this out? All that stuff. You're editing. Once you have completed that particular process and you have it on paper, and everything that you draw on paper looks close to or exactly how you want it. Then what you do is you take that sketch that's on paper and you draw it over the canvas or the paper or the other paper or the medium, whatever you're using. Now that you're comfortable with the sketch, you can say, okay, I'm good with this. Let's proceed. Let's put it onto the paper now. The whole measure twice, cut once thing. Everything is in place. Everything's how you want it. Cool. Right now, I'm adding some purple to it. What I've also noticed that on wood, the paint dries quicker. So what you're seeing right now is from the sketch that I did this morning. All this was actually done in from the sketching process from the paper to redrawing it on this piece of wood right here to the section I'm doing right now as we speak took 30 minutes. And the reason why it took 30 minutes is mainly because one, I know what I'm doing, but two, most importantly, I took the time out to work on took the time to work out all the details beforehand, which makes it a lot easier to transfer over when you have everything in place. Measure twice, cut once is much more efficient this way. Turn this over. When you take the time out to measure everything how you want it to be, it makes it a lot easier, a lot quicker, a lot more efficient. Because usually, where most artists mess up is that they don't take the time. Because to be honest with you, artists aren't really the most patient people. We aren't the most patient people on the planet. I'll be the first to admit that we are not the most patient people on the planet. You know, when we have an idea, we rush to get it out as quickly as possible, not caring if it looks like how we want it to look. And when it doesn't, we get very frustrated, and we're just ready to tear up the entire world because our ideas didn't come out how we want it to, and we get mad, upset with ourselves. And over time, artists have to learn to be patient with their body, meaning your brain moves faster than your body. Your brain processes information faster than your body can react. And with that, when our brain sees something, we think our body can move at that same speed. That ain't the case. It is not the case. Our body does not move as fast as our brain can process information. It takes some time for the signals to reach the extremities. And then you have to decode what your brain sees. You actually have to decode it. You actually have to take it in, process it, process it some more, and hopefully you have the knowledge and the skill set to bring forth what your brain sees. Hopefully, if you work on your craft, your body can bring forth what your brain sees. And that takes time. That takes time. Let's see. That's pretty good right there. Paint these clouds. If you see me doing all this upside down stuff, that's just me trying to get the correct angle that I need to continue. Me having this fan on messed the paint up on my palette. And these are just the clouds here. And that's the clouds. I should work on the compass too. Why not? I'm gonna pause and stop this for now. And I'll be right back shortly. Peace.